who chased a song. In a warm, sunny nook where the garden met the woods lived a little cat named Pip. While his brothers chased butterflies and his sisters napped, Pip sat with his ears pricked, listening to the world's music. His favorite music came from the birds. Every morning, a tiny warbler named Willow would sing from the highest branch of the old oak tree. Her song sounded like sparkling dewdrops and morning sunshine. "Oh," Pip would whisper, "I want to make a sound like that." So Pip decided he would learn to sing. He took a very deep breath, puffed out his chest just like he'd seen the robins do, and let out a tremendous meow. It was not a beautiful song. The squirrels dropped their acorns and scurried up the tree trunk. The bunnies in the clover patch froze with their ears straight up, their noses twitching in alarm. Pip didn't give up. He practiced his scales at dawn, startling the worms. He practiced his crescendos at dusk, frightening the fireflies. But his voice only ever sounded like a rusty hinge on a garden gate. One afternoon, feeling quite sad, Pip sat under the old oak tree and let out a tiny hiccuping sigh. Just then, Willow the warbler fluttered down to a branch right beside him. "That was a very quiet sound," Willow chirped. "It's the only one I have left," Pip mumbled. "I tried to sing like you, but all I do is scare everyone away." "But why do you want my song?" asked Willow. "Your gift isn't a loud one. Your gift is a soft one. Have you ever noticed what happens when you just sit?" Pip stayed very still. He didn't try to sing or yowl. He just sat. After a moment, a timid mouse peeked out from the tall grass. Then, a shy fawn stepped into the clearing to nibble on flowers. They weren't afraid at all. "You see?" Willow whispered. "Your purr is a cozy blanket, and your silence is a safe place. That is your song, little Pip, and it is just as beautiful as mine." Pip closed his eyes, and for the first time, he felt the music in his own quiet stillness. The Sparrow Who Painted the Sky. In a nest high in an old apple tree lived a sparrow named Celeste. Celeste loved colors, the ruby red of the apples, the emerald green of the leaves, and the sunny yellow of dandelions. But when she looked up, the big, wide sky seemed a little plain. "It needs more colors," she chirped, "like a painting." So Celeste began her great work. Every morning she gathered fallen petals, velvet red from roses, bright orange from marigolds, and soft purple from violets. "What are you doing with all that fluff?" grumbled a voice from below. It was Grumble the Mole, poking his nose out of the dirt. "I'm going to paint the sky," Celeste chirped happily. "Paint the sky?" squawked Chatter the magpie from a branch above. "With petals? That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. The wind will just blow them away." He laughed a loud, cackling laugh. Celeste's little heart didn't listen. She held the petals tight and flew up, 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 higher than she had ever flown before. The wind whistled in her feathers as she soared towards the clouds, a tiny bird with a big idea. When she was as high as she could go, she opened her wings wide and released the petals. They danced and twirled in the wind, a flurry of red, orange, and purple. But the sky was so big and the petals were so small, they simply vanished. Down below, Grumble and Chatter watched. "See?" grumbled the mole. "Pointless. A waste of good petals," cackled the magpie. "The sky is just too big to paint." But Celeste did not stop. The next day, she collected golden leaves. The day after, she gathered shimmering dust from ripe berries. Day after day, she flew high into the sky and gave her colors to the wind, trusting her work was not lost. Then one evening, as the sun began to yawn, something magical happened. A soft pink glow appeared on the horizon. Then came streaks of gentle gold and a blush of deep orange, right where Celeste always released her treasures. Grumble the mole and Chatter the magpie stared, their mouths wide open. The sky was a painting. All of Celeste's tiny petals and golden leaves had gathered to color the sunset. "She did it," whispered Chatter. "It's beautiful," rumbled Grumble. From that day on, Celeste was the sparrow who painted the sky. Every morning and evening, she gave her colors to the wind. And all the animals would watch, remembering that even the smallest efforts, made every day, can make the whole world more beautiful. Elwood's big voice. In the heart of a lush green forest lived an elephant named Elwood. Elwood was kind and gentle, but he had a very, very big voice. When he said, quote, "morning," the leaves on the trees would flutter. When he laughed, the acorns would rattle on the ground. Elwood wished he could be quiet like his friend, Willow the rabbit. Willow's voice was like a soft breeze. "Hello, Elwood," she would whisper. Elwood would try to whisper back, but a booming, "Hello, Willow," would burst out instead, making her long ears wiggle. Elwood decided to practice whispering. He saw a beautiful butterfly resting on a flower and tried to say, "You're pretty." But out came a mighty, "You're pretty." The poor butterfly zipped away into the sky. "Oh, bother," sighed Elwood. He tried to whisper "good night" to the sleepy moon. "Good night," he trumpeted, and a family of possums sleeping in a nearby tree tumbled out of their branch, wide awake. Elwood felt his big heart sink. His voice was just too much. One hot afternoon, Elwood smelled something sharp and scary in the air. Smoke. He peered through the thick trees and saw an angry red and orange glow. The forest was on fire, and the flames were getting closer. Elwood looked around. The other animals were napping or playing. The monkeys chattered, the deer grazed peacefully, and Willow was fast asleep in her cozy burrow. They didn't know the danger was coming. Elwood knew he had to warn everyone, and fast. A little whisper wouldn't work. A quiet voice wouldn't travel far enough. He needed something big, something powerful. He needed his voice. Elwood took the biggest, deepest breath he had ever taken. He puffed out his enormous chest and let out a sound that shook the whole forest. "Wake up, Rune!" It was a thunderous, earth-shaking trumpet that echoed from the tallest trees to the deepest caves. Instantly, the forest came alive. Animals popped their heads out of burrows and nests. They heard Elwood's powerful warning and smelled the smoke. Led by Willow, they all scurried, hopped, and flew away from the fire, following the sound of Elwood's call to the safety of the river. From the safe bank of the river, everyone watched the fire. They were all safe, thanks to Elwood's big, loud voice. Willow hopped over and nuzzled his leg. "Thank you, Elwood," she whispered. For the first time, Elwood felt proud. His voice wasn't a flaw. It was his greatest gift. The lazy cloud who learned to wiggle. High up in the big blue sky lived a fluffy white cloud named Nimbus. Nimbus was a very lazy cloud. He loved to stay in one spot and watch the world go by below. "Whee!" zipped the other clouds, dancing and twirling on the wind. "Come play, Nimbus," they would call. But Nimbus would just yawn and say, "No thank you, I like it right here." Far below, in a sunny green meadow, grew a little flower named Petal. She loved the sunshine, but today it was very, very hot. Nimbus was floating right above her, blocking all the other clouds. "Oh, I'm so thirsty," Petal drooped. Her bright pink petals started to wilt. A little bird named Pip saw the sad flower. Pip flew all the way up to the lazy cloud. It "Excuse me, Mr. Nimbus," chirped Pip. "There's a little flower down there who is very thirsty. You've been blocking the rain clouds all day." Nimbus looked down and saw the tiny, wilting petal. He felt a little sad for her. He didn't like to move, not one bit, but he wanted to help. "I guess I could try to move, just a little," Nimbus mumbled. He took a deep breath, puffed out his cheeks, and wiggled. He wiggled and jiggled and scooted just a tiny bit to the side. That little wiggle was all it took. A big, gray rain cloud that was stuck behind Nimbus could finally float by. Plink, plank, plunk. Gentle raindrops began to fall. Petal drank up the wonderful water. Her petals perked right up, brighter and pinker than ever. She danced in the rain and waved a happy leaf up at the sky. "Thank you, Nimbus," she shouted. Nimbus felt a happy feeling bubble up inside him. His small wiggle had made a big difference. From that day on, Nimbus still loved to rest, but he also loved to wiggle and dance with the other clouds, making sure everyone got a little bit of sunshine and a little bit of rain. The cat who hid his meow. In a cozy little house lived a fluffy cat named Leo. Leo was a very quiet cat. He could purr and he could pounce, but there was one thing he would never, ever do. He would never meow. "My meow is too squeaky," he thought. "It's not big and loud like the dog's woof, or tweedaleet like the bird's song." So Leo kept his meow tucked deep inside. One sunny afternoon, while strolling through the garden, Leo saw a tiny, fluffy duckling. Her name was Pippin, and she was all alone. Big tears rolled down her little beak. "I've lost my mama," quacked Pippin sadly. "I can't find her anywhere." Leo's heart felt a little ache for the lost duckling. He wanted to help. First, Leo tried to get the wise old owl's attention. He ran to the big oak tree and patted the trunk with his paw. Tap, 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 but the owl was fast asleep and didn't hear a thing. Next, he tried to show the big, friendly dog in the yard. Leo pointed his nose toward the crying duckling and wiggled his tail. But the dog just thought Leo wanted to play and brought him a bouncy ball. Pippin's quacks grew softer and sadder. Leo knew what he had to do. He felt a little flutter of fear in his tummy, but he thought of the lonely duckling. He took a deep, deep breath. And then he let it out. Meow. It wasn't a roar, and it wasn't a squeak. It was a perfect Leo meow, and it was loud. The owl's eyes popped open. The dog dropped his ball. They both looked over and saw the lost little duckling. Hoo-hoo. A lost duckling, hooted the owl. He flew off to find her mother. Soon, Pippin was safe with her mama. She gave Leo a happy little quack. Leo felt a warm feeling all over. His meow wasn't silly or strange. It was helpful, and it was his, and that was the best sound of all. The Wasp and the Storm Cloud. Zippy the Wasp buzzed proudly around the garden. "Look at me," he'd hum. "I can zip and I can zoom. I'm the fastest flyer in the whole wide world." He watched the big birds soaring high in the sky. "Pa!" buzzed Zippy. "They think they're so great. I bet I can fly higher and faster than any of them." Just then, a big, grumpy storm cloud began to gather. It rumbled and grumbled, turning the blue sky to a dark, angry gray. "Aha," thought Zippy. "I will fly right through that cloud. No bird would dare do that." From his branch in the old oak tree, Hoot the wise owl watched with his big round eyes. He saw the little wasp puffing out his chest, getting ready to fly toward the storm. "Hoo, hoo, little one," called Hoot gently. "That cloud is full of wind and rain. It is not a safe place to fly. Bravery must come with wisdom." But Zippy just wiggled his antennae. "Wisdom is for slow old owls," he buzzed back. "I am fast and strong. Watch me." And with a bee-zee-zee-zee-zee-zee, Zippy flew straight into the big dark cloud. Whoosh! A mighty wind tossed him upside down. Splat! A big, cold raindrop knocked him sideways. It was dark and scary. The wind blew him right back out of the cloud, and he tumbled down, 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 landing softly on a big green leaf. He was dizzy, wet, and very, very tired. Hoot the owl glided down silently and landed on a branch nearby. "Hoo hoo," he said softly. "The cloud was stronger than you thought." Zippy looked up. "You were right," he chirped quietly. "Being brave isn't about flying into storms. It's about being smart enough to know when to stay safe." From that day on, Zippy was still a fast flyer, but he was a wise one too. Pip and the Last Golden Mango. Deep in the jungle, where the leaves were as big as umbrellas, lived a little monkey named Pip. Pip was the best at climbing, swinging, and finding the yummiest treats. One sunny morning, after a long night of rain, Pip's tummy rumbled a big, loud rumble. "I'm so hungry," he chirped. He searched high and low, but all the fruit had been washed away. Just when he was about to give up, he spotted it. High on the tallest branch, glowing like a little sun, was one perfect golden mango. It was the last one in the whole jungle. Pip scrambled up the tree, his heart thumping with joy. He carefully plucked the mango. It smelled so sweet. He was about to take a giant bite when he thought of his friend, Squeaky the squirrel. Squeaky was very small and not as good at finding food after a storm. "Squeaky might be hungry too," Pip whispered to the mango. His tummy rumbled again, but his heart felt a little tug. Pip scurried down the tree and found Squeaky huddled in a little nook, looking sad and hungry. "Hello, Squeaky," said Pip with a big smile. "Look what I found." Squeaky's eyes grew wide. "For me?" he whispered. "But you must be hungry too." Pip broke the mango right in half. "We can share," he said, handing the biggest half to his friend. They ate the sweet, juicy mango together, juice dripping from their chins. It was the most delicious mango ever because it was a shared mango. Their tummies weren't full, but their hearts were. The next morning, Pip woke up to a wonderful surprise. Outside his home was a pile of delicious berries, nuts, and sweet flowers. A wise old parrot was waiting nearby. "The jungle saw your kindness, little one," she cooed. "So the jungle gives kindness back." Pip learned that even when you only have a little, sharing it can make everyone's world a whole lot bigger and brighter. A small bit of kindness can come back in the biggest ways. Shelley the Snail and the Speedy River. Shelley the Snail lived in a patch of soft green moss. Across a wide, rushing river grew the sweetest, juiciest clovers he had ever seen. "Oh, how I wish I could taste one," he sighed to himself, his little antennae twitching. He slowly made his way to the water's edge. The river was a blur of motion, tumbling over stones and splashing its banks. It seemed far too fast and far too strong for a small snail to cross. "Excuse me, River?" Shelley called out, his voice barely a whisper against the roar. "Could you please slow down for just a moment? I would very much like to get to the other side." The river seemed to laugh, its voice a deep, gurgling sound. "Slow down, little one? I can't do that," it bubbled. "I must rush and flow to carry leaves and sticks and keep my water fresh and clean. To be fast is to be alive." Shelley felt his shell droop. The clovers seemed farther away than ever. He sat by the bank, watching the water hurry by, feeling very small and very slow. It seemed his delicious lunch was just a dream. Just then, a big, sturdy maple leaf, painted red and orange by the autumn air, twirled down from a tree above. It landed gently on the ground, right beside him. An idea began to wiggle in Shelley's mind. Using all his might, Shelley pushed the big leaf toward the water. It was hard work, but he kept going until the edge of the leaf dipped into the river and floated on the surface. It bobbed up and down like a little boat. Taking a deep breath, Shelley slimed his way onto the center of the leaf. It wobbled a bit, but it held him steady. He was floating. He was a captain on his very own ship. The speedy river caught his leaf boat and pulled it into the current. Whoosh! Shelley had never moved so fast in his life. The world was a blur of green and blue, and the wind tickled his antennae. It wasn't scary. It was exciting. In no time at all, his boat bumped gently against the far shore. He had made it. Shelley crawled onto the new bank and took a big, happy bite of the sweet clover. He realized the river didn't need to change for him. He just needed to find his own way to ride the flow. Giles the Goat and the Great Green Field. Giles was a young goat with a happy skip in his step and 2 brand new horns on his head. He was very proud of his horns. More than anything, Giles wanted a special place he could be proud of, a kingdom to call his very own. One morning, while exploring, he found it, a huge field, greener than any he'd ever seen, filled with delicious-smelling clover. And the best part? It was completely empty. "Hooray!" he bleated. "This will be the great kingdom of Giles." Giles spent the whole day in his new kingdom. He pranced through the tall grass, chased butterflies, and took a long nap in the warmest patch of sun. He felt like the most important goat in the whole world. A little later, a squirrel scampered down a nearby tree. "Greetings," announced Giles, standing as tall as he could. "You are welcome to visit my magnificent field. But please, only look. All this clover is for me." As the afternoon sun began to dip, a very large shadow fell over Giles. A creature much, much bigger than a squirrel had arrived. It was Boulder the Bull, and he looked very hungry. Giles's confident heart went thump, thump, thump. He took a wobbly step forward. "Excuse me," he squeaked, trying to make his voice sound big. "This is my kingdom. This field belongs to me." Boulder stopped chewing a piece of grass he'd found. He looked down at the little goat with his big, gentle eyes. "It's a big field," he said, his voice a low, friendly rumble. "There is enough grass for a little goat and enough for a big bull." Giles looked at Boulder's strong legs, which were as thick as tree trunks. He looked at his own skinny, knobby legs. He looked at Boulder's long, sharp horns, then felt his own tiny, new ones. Suddenly, his big words felt very small and silly. He didn't say another word. Giles quietly walked to the other side of the great green field. He took a bite of clover. It was just as sweet over here. Boulder was right. There was plenty for everyone. Giles watched the sun set over the field. It wasn't his kingdom, but that was okay. He learned that day that boasting about something you can't protect is a silly game. It was much nicer to quietly share something wonderful. forgotten acorn. Pippin the squirrel had found the perfect acorn. It was plump, round, and shiny, the best acorn in the whole wide wood. "I'll save you for the coldest day of winter," she whispered, patting its smooth cap. She found a special spot by a tall oak tree with peeling bark. Dig, dig, dig went her paws. She tucked the acorn into the cozy hole, covered it with dirt, and patted it down with a fluffy leaf. "Safe and sound," she chirped. The days grew shorter and the air grew colder. A soft white blanket of snow covered the forest, sparkling in the winter sun. All the trees wore coats of white, and the world was quiet. One morning, Pippin's tummy rumbled a big, hungry rumble. "Aha," she thought. "It's time for my perfect acorn." She scampered down her tree, ready for her winter feast. But when she got to the tall oak tree, she stopped. Which spot was it? Was it by the bumpy root or near the fallen branch? She dug here and she dug there, but all she found was cold, empty dirt. Her perfect acorn was gone. A kind fox named Reynard was trotting quietly through the woods. He saw the worried little squirrel digging hole after hole. "Is something the matter, little one?" he asked in a gentle voice. Pippin's whiskers drooped. "I've lost my special winter acorn," she sniffled. "I buried it, but I can't remember where." Reynard smiled warmly. "Perhaps two heads are better than one. Let's think. Where did you start from?" Pippin thought hard. "I started from my home tree, then I scurried past the big flat rock, and then I hopped over the sleepy mossy log." Reynard nodded. "Show me the way," he said. So they retraced her steps together. They went from the home tree, past the rock, and over the log, right to the tall oak tree. "Look," said Reynard, pointing his nose to a spot covered by a single snow-dusted leaf. Pippin dug, and there it was. Her perfect, plump, shiny acorn. "You found it," Pippin squeaked with joy. "Thank you, Reynard." She broke off a tiny piece of her acorn and offered it to the fox. Reynard smiled. A little bit of kindness, he knew, could make the coldest winter day feel warm.